I can't believe I'm doing this, but you got a deal.
Awesome.
I'll tell you what, I'll do 42,000. Not a penny more.
Original Spacelander bike. In Season 13, Episode 16 of Pawn Stars, Chumlee makes an unexpected discovery while driving around Las Vegas on an errand. He spots a rare Bowden Spacelander bicycle.
I was out running an errand for the shop when I drove past this Spacelander. I know a little something about bikes, and this is one of the coolest ever.
A model known for its futuristic design and scarcity, as only about 80 were ever made. Excited by the find, Chumlee stops to check out the bike and learns from the owner that it was a Christmas gift from 1960. The owner, who had held onto the bike for decades, initially wasn't planning to sell it.
So is this thing for sale?
Well, I haven't thought about it because I owned it all my life. Like I said, I got it for Christmas when I was like 10. It'd be hard to part with because I wanted to pass it on to the grandkids.
But due to some legal issues, he decided to let it go. He asked for $20,000, but Chumlee managed to negotiate the price down to $8,700 after a bit of back and forth.
How much you trying to sell it for?
20,000.
Ooh-wee. Would you be willing to take 7,000 for it?
Oh.
Cash money, man.
You want to go up to 12?
If you can go 85, it's a deal.
Let me think.
85 is a good lawyer.
Yeah. Make it 9,000, we got a deal.
87 and I can do it, man.
I need the money. Case is coming up.
All right, 8,700.
Chumlee proudly brings the bike back to the shop, eager to see how Rick will react.
Okay. A really clean Spacelander for 8,700 is a good deal. I mean, they go from like $12,000 to $20,000.
Chumlee, keep it up. Before long, you'll be making more than minimum wage.
While Rick is initially surprised by the purchase, he agrees that Chumlee got a good deal, considering these rare bikes can sell for anywhere between $12,000 and $20,000. Pleased with Chumlee's performance, Rick rewards him with a $1,000 bonus, acknowledging his hard work and the solid deal he struck. This sale on Pawn Stars highlighted the growing interest in vintage bicycles, and the premium collectors are willing to pay for items with unique designs and limited production runs. Treasure Gold Bar. In Season 17, Episode 15 of Pawn Stars, which originally aired in 2024, Matt, a middle-aged man, walked into the Pawn Stars shop carrying an old weathered box.
What do we got here?
I got a gold bar I want you to look at.
All right.
Inside the box was a gold bar, tarnished and encrusted with corals and seaweed. Matt explained that the gold bar had belonged to his grandmother. After her passing, he discovered the bar among her belongings and sought help to understand its value. Rick Harrison, intrigued by the item, called in an expert appraiser, Mark, to assess the gold bar.
What are your concerns, Rick?
What the XX means, I have no idea. And it looks like there's some crustation on the back of it that's not from casting.
Well, what you've got here are the fineness markings. These particular stamps I recognize from the 1500s.
Mark observed that the bar's unusual condition, with coral growths and weathered surface, indicated it had been submerged underwater for an extended period. He explained that during the Great Depression, owning gold was illegal in the United States due to government measures to stabilize the economy and prevent hoarding. As a result, many people had to hide or discreetly sell their gold. Mark concluded that the gold bar's historical significance and unique underwater condition made it a rare find. It was estimated to be worth nearly double the typical value of gold bars of its weight. Matt, surprised by the valuation, was excited about the potential profit.
Remember earlier when I said $24,000 in scrap?
Yeah.
Scrap is melt. It's just like a trade term.
So you're telling me that's worth $48,000?
In that neighborhood.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
A few weeks later, the gold bar was showcased in the shop and attracted serious buyers. It ultimately sold for a remarkable sum, significantly more than Matt had anticipated. This unexpected discovery turned out to be a lucrative and historically significant find, reflecting both the rarity and value of the item. Spanish Fleet Coin. In Season 6, Episode 11 of Pawn Stars, a man walks into the shop hoping to sell a rare gold coin passed down from his grandfather.
I'd like to sell this gold coin if I could.
Okay. This is a Spanish stamp here. This is like the Royal Crest of Spain. So where did you get this?
I got that from my grandfather when he died. He left a safe full of contents.
Any other cool things in the safe?
Not really, no.
No holy grails or anything like that?
No,
Oh.
nothing.
He doesn't know much about the coin, except that it is old and well preserved, kept in plastic for protection. The coin is identified as an 8 escudo piece, minted in Lima, Peru. The seller initially asks for $2,000, unaware of its potential value. Rick explains that these coins were minted during the brutal Spanish occupation of Latin America, where enslaved laborers worked in dangerous conditions to extract gold from perilous mines. He notes that the coin's weight and purity were more important than its size or strike, which makes this particular coin, in near perfect condition, highly unusual. Due to concerns about counterfeiting, Rick calls in an expert.
Hey, Carl, how's it going?
Good to see you, Rick. That's a Lima 8 escudo. And in this corner, there's an L. That means Lima, Peru mint. 8 is the denomination, biggest gold coin the Spanish made.
Carl, who confirms the coin's authenticity. The expert highlights various details on the coin, such as the L for Lima, the denomination of 8 escudos, and the Latin phrase plus ultra, symbolizing Spain's expansion beyond Europe. After confirming that the coin is genuine, Carl appraises it at around $18,000. However, after some negotiation, the seller agrees to sell the coin for $11,000, well above his original asking price.
Sounds like 18,000 to me.
No, I don't. Why would we give you 10 grand for it?
How about 12?
How about 10.5?
I wouldn't take anything less than 11,000.
So 11,000.
11,000.
Okay.
Got a deal.
The seller leaves the shop thrilled with the outcome, having received much more than he anticipated for this valuable piece of Spanish colonial history. Spanish cannon. In this episode of Pawn Stars, Season 15, Episode 2, Rick and Chum head to the East Coast to evaluate a Spanish cannon from 1782.
So I'm out here on the East Coast on a work trip with Chum. We're checking out a 1782 bronze Spanish cannon. The seller wants $75,000.
The seller is asking a hefty $75,000 for the cannon, which is made of solid bronze and has a historical significance. The seller claims it was cast in Seville, Spain, and highlights its impressive features, including detailed embellishments and a carriage that would have originally been made of hardwood. To get a professional assessment, Rick calls in Alex, an expert in historical weaponry. Alex explains that the use of bronze makes the cannon both strong and expensive, and notes that the cannon's bronze construction and age add to its value.
Found Alex, Rick.
Help the old man out?
I mean, I'm helping Alex out. I'm gonna be back over there and help the old man out as soon as I get next to you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Alex.
Well, this is it.
Yeah, this thing is a monster. I mean, I saw photos of it, but I didn't actually realize it was quite this big.
He emphasizes that while the cannon is indeed impressive, firing it will provide a better understanding of its condition and worth. Alex prepares to fire the cannon, taking necessary safety precautions. Once fired, the cannon delivers a powerful bang that leaves everyone feeling the force.
Pokes the powder bag, take the fuse, and stick it down into the black powder bag. Fire in the hole!
You stole my line.
Everybody step back once. Yeah.
Don't get scared now, Rick.
Alex evaluates the cannon and, despite its impressive condition and firing capability, he believes $50,000 is a fair value. Rick, however, wants to negotiate a better deal. He offers $35,000, but the seller refuses. After some back and forth, they agree on a final price of $42,000.
As a pair, I think 50,000's fair.
Okay. Thanks, man.
All right.
Appreciate it.
See you guys. Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
Still a lot of money for a cannon.
Let me take it off your hands for $35,000. That way your husband won't try it out and blow himself up.
I appreciate that, but no. No 35. We could do better.
What would that number be?
45.
I'll tell you what, I'll do 42,000. Not a penny more.
Rick and Alex are pleased with the deal, and the cannon is successfully acquired at a price that reflects both its historical importance and practical value. Postcards. In season 16, episode 5 of Pawn Stars, a seller walks into the shop with original mixed media postcards by renowned artist Jean-Michel Basquiat. Recognizing the potential value of these rare pieces, Rick asks how much the seller is looking for.
So how did you get them?
I got these from a private collector who acquired them directly from Basquiat's friend.
Okay, you got them from Basquiat's friend.
Yes.
And, I mean, do you have any paperwork from who you got them from or where he got them? Is there a trail of ownership?
I do not have paperwork.
Okay.
And the seller quotes $38,000 per postcard. Rick, unsure of their authenticity and wanting to verify the price, decides to bring in an expert to assess the situation. Rick calls in Scott Ferguson, an art expert and former personal friend of Basquiat, to evaluate the postcards.
How much you want for them?
$38,000 a piece.
Okay. You have something from someone very, very famous, and you have no paperwork. It deeply concerns me. These postcard paintings are worth a lot of money if they're real, and I have my doubts. So I've called in Brett. He's my art expert. Maybe he'll know.
After careful inspection, Scott confirms that the pieces are authentic and states that they could be worth around $50,000 each. Feeling more confident about their value, Rick presses the seller for a better deal, offering $50,000 for the entire collection.
So these have all the right elements.
Okay, so you think they're real?
I think they're 100% correct.
Okay. And what do you think they're worth?
These are a little tricky to evaluate because you just don't see them out in the market very often. You look at his paintings, works that are just a little bit bigger than this will start typically at $100,000 at auction. The fact that these are in such good condition, I'd put these in the neighborhood of about $50,000 a piece.
Citing the risks involved in reselling such high-value art, the seller, hoping for more, declines that offer but agrees to sell the lot for $50,000. Happy with the negotiation, Rick finalizes the deal, paying $50,000 in cash for the Basquiat postcards.
I'll be willing to do $30,000 a piece.
I can't do it. I just have years of risk involved here.
That's a tough one, 50 grand. Let's do it, 50 grand.
All right, cool, man. Meet you right over there.
All right.
The seller walks away satisfied, and Rick secures a valuable piece of art history for the shop. 1918 series Federal Reserve note. In this episode of Pawn Stars, season 15, episode 2, a seller brings in two extraordinary and rare bills, a 1918 series Federal Reserve note and an 1882 $500 gold certificate. Rick is immediately impressed by their significance and rarity, noting that they're a little more than just great, they're incredible pieces of history.
This is a 1918 series Federal Reserve note, and this is a $500 1882 gold note.
Whoa, these are a little bit more than just high grade, especially this one right here, the $500 gold certificate. There's not a lot of these left in the world.
The seller hopes to get $50,000 for both notes, but Rick wants to bring in an expert to assess their true value. After calling in an expert, they dive into the details of the bills. The 1918 $500 note features Chief Justice John Marshall, an essential figure in U.S. history who helped elevate the Supreme Court to be a co-equal branch of the government. The expert estimates that the 1918 $500 Federal Reserve note could fetch between $20,000 and $30,000 at auction, while the 1882 $500 gold certificate, due to its condition and some restoration work, could bring around $20,000.
I would expect the 1918 $500 Federal Reserve note to bring $20,000 to $30,000, and the 1882 $500 gold certificate, because of the grade and the restoration work, in auction, I think one could expect to pay around $20,000.
Armed with this information, Rick begins negotiating. The seller is willing to lower his asking price to $40,000, but Rick counters with $35,000, stating that there's no profit at $40,000.
Well, you seem like a reasonable businessman. You know, I'm not going to pay $50,000 for something I might get 50 out of.
Right.
Hey, what can you do?
I bet 40.
There's no money at 40.
37?
No, I'll go 35. I mean, there's auction fees, I mean, in the end, it makes no sense for me to give you a dime more than that.
All right, you got a deal.
Oh, sweet, man.
After some back and forth, the seller accepts Rick's offer of $35,000. They finalize the deal, with Rick satisfied at having landed these historical notes for a fair price. Peter Fabergé brooch. In season 15, episode 4 of Pawn Stars, Peggy visits the pawn shop with a spider-shaped brooch she inherited from her grandmother. She's looking to sell it because she doesn't like spiders and isn't sure of its value, hoping to get a couple of $1,000s for it. Rick examines the brooch and recognizes it as a Fabergé piece, designed by the famed jeweler Peter Fabergé, known for his luxurious and intricate creations. The brooch is identified as pre-revolution Russian imperial jewelry and is made from onyx with platinum and features diamonds, sapphires, and rubies. This makes it a rare and valuable piece of historical jewelry. Rick initially offers $2,000, but after realizing the brooch's true worth, he increases his offer to $15,000.
I'll give you $15,000 for it.
Oh my God, you gotta be me.
No, I'm not. This is stuff you do not see every day.
How about 17? A man that's willing to pay 15 will definitely pay 17
No,
for
he
that.
won't. I mean,
All right,
literally,
how about 16?
I will give you 15. That's more than a fair offer on this.
How about 15.5?
I can pay you 15 grand. That's more than a fair offer on this. This is not something that's going to sell overnight.
All right, you're a good man.
Okay.
Thank you.
Peggy is surprised and tries to negotiate for $17,000, but Rick counters with $16,000. Eventually, Rick sticks to his $15,000 offer, which he believes is fair given the brooch's rarity and condition. Peggy accepts the offer, thrilled by the unexpectedly high value. Rick is pleased with the transaction, knowing that negotiating such valuable items is always challenging. John Hancock's vintage pocket watch. In season 15, episode 7 of Pawn Stars, Brian arrives at the pawn shop with a fascinating set of historical items. A vintage Swiss pocket watch and a waistcoat that once belonged to John Hancock, a key figure in American history. Brian, who is known for his impressive Revolutionary War collection, has been trying to get these items evaluated for some time and is excited to share them with Rick. Brian reveals that the pocket watch was owned by John Hancock, a prominent signer of the Declaration of Independence, and he has priced it at $150,000. Alongside the pocket watch, Brian also offers Hancock's waistcoat from the 1700s, valuing the combined lot at $400,000. Rick's interest is particularly piqued by the pocket watch due to its historical significance. He notes that owning a watch made of 18-karat gold during the late 1700s was a major status symbol, making it a highly coveted item. Rick is aware that Hancock was one of the wealthiest individuals in New England, which adds to the watch's allure. Brian further adds to the item's value by pointing out that the watch has been a part of his family's collection for the past 150 years. He mentions that he acquired the items at auction around 10 to 15 years ago. To authenticate the watch's provenance, Brian presents a letter dated 1890, which details the watch's historical journey through his family. Despite being impressed by the watch's historical value, Rick finds Brian's asking price of $150,000 too steep. Rick makes an initial offer of $125,000 for the pocket watch alone, hoping to avoid extended negotiations. Brian, however, is firm on his price and argues that he cannot accept less than $150,000. After some back and forth, Rick proposes a compromise of $140,000 for the watch, but Brian remains steadfast.
Why don't you just let me give you $125,000, and then we don't have to go back and forth. I don't have to go 100,000, you go 140, and then I go 110, and then we settle on 125.
You have a deal.
Thanks.
Rick then offers $110,000, suggesting that they meet in the middle, and after additional discussion, Rick agrees to pay $125,000 for the watch. Brian is reluctant, but ultimately accepts Rick's offer. They agree to finalize the sale and complete the necessary paperwork the following day. Rick is satisfied with the purchase, feeling that $125,000 was a fair price for the watch, considering its historical value. He is eager to add it to his collection and is also considering loaning the waistcoat to a museum for public display. Brian, though initially hesitant, is pleased with the outcome and looks forward to deal's completion. Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, End of Days Edition. In Season 17, Episode 7 of Pawn Stars, Rick is presented with a rare and iconic timepiece, the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak End of Days Edition, a watch exclusively designed for Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in the 1999 action movie End of Days. Rick is immediately drawn to the watch's rugged design and its limited edition status, as only 500 of these watches were produced. The seller, David, explains that he bought the watch from a friend but hasn't worn it much, finding it too bulky for everyday use. Despite that, he acknowledges its rarity and hopes to sell it for $40,000. Rick, after inspecting the watch and finding it in excellent condition, offers $30,000, believing that to be a fair price. David, however, knows the watch's value has risen over time and counters with a minimum of $33,000.
How much you want for it?
I was looking, hoping something in the 40,000 range.
I was thinking like 30,000 bucks.
I figured you might be doing that. I'd love to see if we could come to something maybe in the middle there somewhere, like
31?
No, what about 33?
32?
5, split the difference.
32.5, you got a deal.
After some negotiation, Rick raises his offer to $32,500, which David ultimately accepts. Though not thrilled with the final price, David decides to take the money and invest it in cryptocurrency or NFTs, hoping for better returns in the future. 1932 Ford Roadster. In Season 7, Episode 29 of Pawn Stars, Rick and his son make a rare house call to evaluate a pristine 1932 Ford Roadster Model B. This model, manufactured from 1932 to 1934, was an updated version of the Model A and remains a classic piece of automotive history. The car's immaculate condition and incredibly low mileage, only 450 miles on the speedometer, capture Rick's attention despite its small size, which makes it impractical for personal use. To ensure the car's value, Rick calls in Danny Coker, a well-known car expert and customizer from Las Vegas. Danny's enthusiasm for the vehicle convinces Rick that it's worth pursuing.
What is your best rock bottom price?
Best price is 70. That is the rock bottom best price I can do.
65? It will take me a while to sell it.
Well, I don't know if I can do that. That really hurts.
I understand, but remember, they don't sell overnight. It takes the right customer. It takes someone with a lot of money in their pocket.
$65,000 cash.
69. That's less than half of what I have in it.
We do 67 for it.
6850.
6750.
6850.
68,250.
All right, 68,250.
All right, we got a deal, man.
Thank you.
When the seller reveals his lowest asking price, $70,000, Rick starts the negotiation at $65,000. Though the seller is hesitant to lower his price, they ultimately agree on $68,250. Lincoln Parlor Card. In Season 15, Episode 12 of Pawn Stars, a customer named Greg brings in a notable artifact, a signed parlor card of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Greg explains that this card features a portrait that served as the basis for the Lincoln penny, making it an exceptional item. He believes a fair price for the card is $100,000. Rick, intrigued by the card's historical significance and its connection to the Lincoln penny, expresses keen interest. He acknowledges the rarity of such a piece, stating, "I didn't know what existed in private hands. This is the only one left, so I think a fair price is $100,000. To verify the card's authenticity, Rick brings in Stuart Lutz, a historical document expert.
Brought in some examples of authentic Lincoln signatures here. So one thing I look for authenticity is the angle of the O. He usually makes it not as a perfect circle, but as an oval, and he usually slants it about 45 degrees upwards. So if you look here, there's a 45-degree angle. And then if we come over here, you can see it's not a perfect circle, it's sort of an oval, and you can sort of see the lower point and top point make that 45-degree angle. So Rick, I do believe it is genuinely signed by our 16th president himself.
Stewart compares the signature on the card with known authentic examples, confirming that it is indeed signed by Lincoln. He estimates the card's value at $150,000, indicating its high worth due to its historical importance. Despite the higher valuation provided by Stewart, Greg attempts to negotiate for a better price. He suggests that a price of $120,000 would be fair, and even states that the card could still be profitable at that price. However, Rick remains firm, offering $100,000 for the card. Greg continues to push for more, but Rick sticks to his offer, stating, "I think $110,000 is a fair price. $100,000 and that's it."
I mean, like, what's your best price on it?
I told you $100,000, but you could make money even if you gave me 120.
I'll make this really, really simple for you. I'll give you the 100 grand. I won't go a penny more. That's what I'll go. 100 grand.
I think 110 is a fair price.
I am comfortable at $100,000 and that's it.
We got a deal.
After some back and forth negotiations, Greg agrees to Rick's offer of $100,000. Rick completes the purchase and jokes about Greg's resemblance to him, while Greg is left satisfied with the deal. Rick plans to pay Greg and then deal with the card's further handling, possibly for display or sale. The Wild Price of Art. In Season 15, Episode 18 of Pawn Stars, titled Can't Pawn Me Love, Rick Harrison visits a local gallery to examine original illustrations from Maurice Sendak's beloved children's book, Where the Wild Things Are. First published in 1963, the book, which tells the story of Max, a young boy who becomes the king of a fantastical land filled with wild creatures, has been immensely popular and was even adapted into a film in 2009. Maurice Sendak's artwork from the book is highly acclaimed and recognized worldwide. Rick was curious about the origins of the artwork and why the owner, Nick, was looking to sell it. Nick explained that he had possessed the illustrations for some time and now wished to transfer them to someone else. He initially offered the entire collection for $375,000, citing the excellent condition of the drawings. Rick, known for being thorough in high-stakes transactions, sought an expert's opinion on the artwork's value. The appraisal revealed that the first two illustrations were valued at about $80,000 each, with the whole collection estimated at around $310,000.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you 200 grand.
That's low. What I could probably do is try to kind of meet you in the middle. Maybe I could do like 300.
That's not meeting in the middle. I'll give you 240.
How about 250?
I can't believe I'm doing this, but you got a deal.
Awesome.
Rick's initial offer of $200,000 was turned down by Nick, leading to further negotiations. Ultimately, they agreed on a final price of $250,000, making it one of the most expensive purchases in the show's history. And there you have it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay tuned for more amazing discoveries. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.